HR told you their door is always open, that they're there to help, that you can come to them with anything. A bad manager, a toxic coworker, unfair treatment, whatever it is. That's the story they want you to believe. Here's the reality. HR is not your friend. They never were. And the trust they've built with you, they use it deliberately. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly how they do it. 4 specific ways HR works against the very employees they claim to protect. And more importantly, what you can do about each one. My name is Tim Harrison, and I'm an employment lawyer. Over the years, I've seen hundreds of employees walk into HR thinking they had someone in their corner, and walk out having handed that company everything it needed to fire them. Let's start with the open door policy. Every company has one. Talk to HR anytime, get things off your chest, no judgment, no consequences. Sounds like a decent place to work, right? Here's what actually happens when you walk through that door. You sit down and tell HR your manager is treating you unfairly. Maybe he's targeting you, cutting your hours, creating a hostile environment. You lay the whole thing out. HR listens carefully, takes notes, nods along like they genuinely care. And then they walk straight back to your manager and tell them everything you said. That conversation you thought was private is not private. HR has zero legal obligation to keep it confidential. None. What you said in that room, your exact words, your specific complaints, the names you mentioned, all of it can be used to build a case against you. Not your manager, you. See, the open door policy exists for one reason: to catch complaints early before they turn into lawsuits. Every time you walk in there voluntarily and start talking, you are handing them information they didn't have before. You're doing their job for them. So what do you do instead? Simple. Never go to HR with a verbal complaint. If you have a legitimate issue, put it in writing, email, dated, specific. That creates a paper trail that protects you, not them. The moment something is in writing, they can't pretend the conversation never happened. Now let's talk about workplace investigations, because this is where most employees get hurt the worst. Something happens at work. Harassment, discrimination, a manager who's clearly out of line. You report it. HR announces they're launching a formal investigation. You feel relieved. Finally, someone is taking this seriously. Stop right there. Here's what a workplace investigation actually looks like behind the scenes. HR picks the investigator, either someone internal or an outside firm the company has hired before and will hire again. That investigator interviews witnesses, collects statements, writes up a report. And then, almost every single time, the report comes back with insufficient evidence to support your claims. You never see the report. You never find out who said what. You have no way to challenge the findings or even know if the process was fair. The whole thing happens in a black box, and you're expected to just accept the outcome. But here's what's really going on. While that investigation was running, sometimes for weeks, sometimes months, you've been sitting on HR's radar as a problem, a troublemaker, someone who files complaints. And if anything else comes up after that, a performance review, a write-up, a disagreement with your manager, that investigation is sitting right there in your file, quietly working against you. Workplace investigations are not designed to find the truth. They are designed to create a documented paper trail that protects the company if you ever try to take them to court. If you ever find yourself in one, the single most important thing you can do is call an employment lawyer before you say another word to HR. Most employment lawyers offer free consultations. Use it. Even one phone call before that investigation interview can completely change your position. Now here's the one that surprises people the most. HR reps lie. Not occasionally, regularly. And not because every HR person is a dishonest individual, but because their job is to protect the company. And sometimes protecting the company means telling you things that are simply not true. Here are the ones you'll hear most often. That's not covered under our policy. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. They're counting on you not actually going and reading the policy yourself. A lot of employees never do. You don't have a case. They are not your lawyer. They have no idea whether you have a case or not. What they do know is that saying this confidently might make you give up and go away. It works more often than you'd think. Everything you say in here is completely confidential. We already covered this one, but it's worth repeating because HR reps say it all the time, and it is not true. There is no confidentiality protection in an HR meeting. None. You're not allowed to record this conversation. This one is particularly aggressive because in the majority of US states, one-party consent recording is completely legal. That means if you are part of the conversation, you can record it without telling the other person. You should look up your specific state's recording laws before your next HR meeting, but in many cases, that HR rep telling you that you can't record is itself a lie. The rule here is straightforward. Treat everything HR tells you as something that needs to be independently verified. Google it. Check the EEOC website. Call a lawyer. Do not take their word for anything that touches your rights, your pay, or your job. Now the last one, and this one affects almost every single person watching this, whether you know it or not. On your first day at your job, you signed a stack of paperwork. Offer letter, benefits forms, tax documents, maybe an employee handbook acknowledgement. Somewhere buried in the middle of all of that, probably on page 22 of a 40-page document, was an arbitration agreement. By signing it, you gave up your right to sue your employer in court. Most people have no idea they did this, and HR absolutely knows that. Arbitration is a private legal process where a third-party arbitrator hears both sides and makes a binding decision. It sounds like a fair alternative to court. It is not. The arbitrator is paid by the company, not by you. And large companies use the same arbitration firms repeatedly, which means those arbitrators know exactly where their next paycheck is coming from. Research has consistently shown that employees win in arbitration at a significantly lower rate than in court, and even when they do win, the compensation awards tend to be much smaller. You probably cannot undo what you already signed, but going forward, before you sign anything at a new job, ask to have an employment attorney review the arbitration clause first. Sometimes these clauses have opt-out windows. Sometimes they're negotiable. Sometimes employers will remove them if you push back professionally, but you have to know to ask, and HR is never going to tell you that. So let's put this all together. HR is not evil. Most HR people are just doing their job, but their job, the actual job they were hired to do, is to protect the company. Their salary comes from the company. Their performance review is written by the company. When your interests and the company's interests line up, HR can be genuinely useful. The moment they conflict, you are on your own, whether they tell you that or not. The employees who come out okay are the ones who understand this going in. They document everything. They put complaints in writing. They verify what HR tells them. They know their state's recording laws. And when something serious starts happening, they talk to an employment lawyer before they say another word to HR. That last part is the most important thing I can tell you. One phone call to an employment attorney, most of them are free for the first consultation, can be the difference between having a case and having nothing. The next video covers what to do when HR starts quietly building a case against you before you even realize it's happening, and the specific steps you can take to protect yourself before it's too late.